Introducing to you first on my left, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing orange and white trunks, fighting out of our nation's capital of Washington, D.C., by way of Tacoma Park, Maryland. He weighed in at 146 1/2 pounds with a record of 57 wins and 5 losses. He has 31 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, currently ranked the IBF #7 world welterweight contender. Please welcome the two-time world champion known as the Little Big Man, introducing Sharmba Mitchell. And his opponent across the ring on my right, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black trunks with white trim, hailing from Aiken, South Carolina. He weighed in the same as his opponent, 146 1/2 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign in the ring with 30 wins, no losses, 22 wins coming by way of knockout. Ranked #2 in the world by the WBC and #1 by the WBO. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the defending NABO and WBC USNBC welterweight champion, introducing the undefeated Paul the Punisher Williams. Once again, a referee in charge, Vic Draculich, now to give instructions.
Center of the ring, chief seconds only. Chief seconds only. All right, gentlemen, this is for the NABO and the WBC, US, NBC welterweight titles. You've received your instructions on dressing room. Again, I want to caution you. Any punch below this point are going to be called low. There's a height difference here. You've got to work to keep your punches up. Any punch below this point are going to be called low. With that said, I want you to obey my commands. Protect yourselves at all times. Touch them up now. I'll be watching. It's going to call right here.
We are getting an opportunity tonight to see two southpaws. Williams, rangy, 6'1", Mitchell, 5'7". Mitchell's been a pro for almost 18 years. He says, you know what, I've seen anything and everything, so his style, it will not affect me. He realizes that this fight has to be on the inside. Williams says, I can fight him on the inside, I can fight him on the outside. However he wants to do it, I can go. And right away you see Paul Williams letting his hands go in the early going.
Ran, he says he's seen everything. He's never seen anything like Paul Williams. I know I have. Not that he's the greatest fighter I've ever seen, but a guy at his height as a welterweight with his reach, his boxing ability, southpaw, who throws such a high volume of punches.
And Lennox, even though he might not be technically sound in all areas, certainly though, his style presents problems for opponents.
His style definitely presents a lot of problems because of the fact that he's so tall and lanky. Throws a lot of punches, yes. Just like Max said,
All the punches.
is anybody's nightmare.
Lennox, you're a big guy, 6'5". You often had a height advantage over your opponents. What should Paul Williams do this evening to utilize that advantage?
Well, Paul realizes that he's got a shorter opponent. And I always believe shorter opponents always should stay at the end of your jab. And that's what he should concentrate on, keeping him at the end of his jab. But he's throwing some great punches right now.
Tell you what, Sharmba Mitchell and Paul Williams exchanging some nice hooks.
Sharmba got a few good ones in there himself.
He sure did.
Usually you see a guy with the physical advantages of Paul Williams, especially if he's not a very big puncher, and Williams is not a very big puncher. They use the reach, stay on the outside, and pot shot with their power hand. You generally don't see them take the approach of, well, since I'm not a huge puncher, I'm going to outwork the other guy with those physical advantages, and that's what presents such a problem for Paul Williams' opponents.
Come on, watch the holder.
That temperament of being a volume puncher in spite of his physical advantages.
And Williams says, look, I know I throw a lot of punches. As an offensive fighter, he knows his defense isn't quite as sound as he would like it, but realizes he's going to get hit, and he says he's okay with that. He said, hey, he's a fighter, so part of that business is getting it. Lands a nice 1-2 there, and then catches Sharmba with a counter upstairs.
Sharmba, a fighter who's fighting as though he showed up to win today and not just to be a name on Paul Williams.
Watch over, watch over, look over now. You guys both hold him, cut it out. Box.
So referee Dick Draculich warns the fighters for holding.
Sharmba's doing the right thing right now, you know, trying to get in, trying to get closer to Paul because that's where his advantage is, trying to get into the body, closer to him because he realizes he's at a disadvantage from far off.
Paul Williams and Sharmba Mitchell saying hello through the first 3 minutes.
Deep breath. You all right? Okay, listen. I need you to settle down. Okay? You're a little tight. But I need you to settle down. I need you to throw more feints. He got a lot of open. He's going to react every time you throw your feint. You got me? But listen, once you sell the feint, go back on this man. He's too long for that. Keep that head down. Keep that head down.
Take that jab from him.
Put it buckle, all right? 2 to 3 feet. Use the angle. You're making him squat down low enough.
Here you're going to see Paul keep him at bay with a good right. Here's another one with a good left.
You gotta hurry, lady.
Definitely using his size in there.
And here's a perfect example of what we're talking about. We mentioned Paul Williams and the volume of punches he throws. According to CompuBox punch stats, Williams landing 18, throwing 95 in the opening round. Mitchell landing 15 of 56.
That indicates that the fight is being fought at Sharmba Mitchell's range. The fact that his connect percentage is so much better than Williams.
What's your wrestling? Stay off that head.
Which is a strategic victory early for Sharmba, even though he probably lost the round.
You can tell Mitchell certainly is laying out a game plan to see if he can work his way inside, Lance, as you mentioned, because of that, we're seeing a lot of clinching.
Well, he realizes he needs to get in there. He needs to be close to Paul Williams, and that's the important thing. But if Paul's wise in this fight, you know, he'll definitely make some adjustments and realize that, you know, once he goes under his arms, he's going to be going into some uppercuts.
Lennox, we heard in Paul Williams' corner that you look a little tight. He does. Does he look a little tight to you in the early going here?
A little bit. You know, this is a big fight for him, and you know, I'm sure he'll warm up as the fight goes along.
Both fighters look pretty dry, actually. Sharmba Mitchell catches Paul Williams upstairs with a 4-punch combination to the head.
And he hurt Paul Williams there momentarily.
Williams comes right back with an assertive 1-2, and then fires out 2 more jabs.
Oh, get off that head.
Williams claims he's never been hurt in his 35 professional or his limited amateur background.
Paul Williams, last time we saw him here on Boxing After Dark, beat Matisse in an entertaining fight, but Matisse was a very raw fighter, though a big puncher. Mitchell is an extremely schooled fighter, and it's showing here early.
Right, Matisse was an undefeated prospect. He was 25-0. I think there's some hard punches as well.
But wide and technically not very good, and Mitchell is not that kind of fighter. He's a schooled fighter.
Go, pull out the corner, pull out the corner.
Williams trying to make Mitchell pay for lunging, taking advantage of Mitchell being up against the ropes.
Watch that hold. Like on the inside.
See, Paul's kind of smothering himself right now. He needs to step back and just give himself some punching room.
Keep the fight on the outside.
Sharmba doing a pretty nice job of parrying those long right jabs with his gloves.
The 2 trade power shots upstairs.
Break, break. When I say break, stop that punching.
Sharmba Mitchell hoping to take Paul Williams, the undefeated, to school here tonight at the Reno Event Center.
You gotta work on the body when you're getting close. You're not punching it close. Do it again. Good job. How you feel, man?
I'm okay.
All right. You still cannot afford to be pulling back off this man. He's too long and he's too tall. You gotta smother his punches, all right? You still can deflect them with your glove. Listen, he's gonna jab. The flip jab up is beautiful. Get ready to roll, come back with a straight break hand, then a hook. One down, one up. Turn.
This is where Mitchell gets inside his long arms and catches him with some good punches. Taking advantage of the inside. This is what you do when you're short of boxer.
What does it mean that Williams was so easy to hit with those wide looping right hooks?
He's not focusing on defense right now. He's trying to do the offense thing and hit him to the body, which his trainer told him to.
Sharmba Mitchell not known for being a big left hand that came straight down the pipe from the Punisher, Paul Williams.
I like Paul Williams' temperament, where in talking to him, he said, look, I throw a lot of punches. I'm going to get hit sometimes. It's something that he accepts. Usually fighters, with, not that there are many 6'1", 82-inch reach welterweights, but guys who are long and lanky don't want to accept those risks because they can fight comfortably from the outside. Paul Williams is temperament.
Big right hand from Williams, stuns Mitchell, and down he goes in the third round.
Let me tell you, that all started with an uppercut. He hit him with an uppercut first, and then he ended it.
6, 7.
So right hook, it looked, they put the finishing touches on it.
Okay, come on.
Sharmba Mitchell wants to get right back to work.
Still kind of wobbly on his feet.
That patience, Max, you were talking about paying off for Williams.
He has the temperament of an aggressive fighter who wants to throw punches. And that's why his defense suffers at times, as Lennox said.
Williams lands another scraping left. Williams now getting a little more confident after the knockdown earlier in the round.
He's also starting to catch Sharmba on the end of his punches with some snap. He's not smothering himself, Williams.
Which is what you were talking about earlier, Lennox.
Very important to get that punch in him. Right now, Williams is finding him with that left hand. That left hand right after the right hand.
Watch the chief on him.
And when Williams is at the proper range, long distance range, the left hand is landing with authority.
Another thunderous left hand from Paul Williams.
Well, we're in the third round. Williams has scored a knockdown. Floyd Mayweather Jr. knocked out Sharmba Mitchell, stopped him in the 6th round. I'm sure that's on Paul Williams' mind, wanting to beat him maybe a round earlier at least than Floyd.
Mitchell doing a nice job there, tripling up on the jab to the body of Williams.
Keep those punches up. Keep those punches up. Let's go. Break. Let's go.
Williams told us this morning that his manager and trainer, George Peterson, said, hey, the money's in the right hook, so I want to see more right hooks. But tonight, Williams pretty effective to the head. Sharmba Mitchell.
Yeah, he was sort of in the motion of throwing that punch when the referee yelled break. I don't think that was a cheap shot.
Big counter right hand from Mitchell, lands flush to the side of Williams' face. To end the third round, the kid didn't budge.
What a great chin.
Sharmba not known as a big puncher, even at junior welter. Now he's at welter. You wouldn't expect him to be able to really rock a guy with one shot.
What happened to have 2 to 3 feet?
Right.
We cannot pull back. This man is entirely too tall.
Right.
You understand me?
Right.
Once you get there and you flip the jab, ride the up, Sharmba. He dipping down trying to find you. You pull your head back, lead it. Then when you get it so run that 8 right around there. Pull that 8 round there.
Smother his boy, the triple jab going, because you're able to touch him with that left hand there. Okay, blind him with that triple jab and come right down the middle with that left hand.
You'll see two looks at the knockdown, starts with that uppercut, ends off with the hook. Good combination. Here's another look at it. It's looked like he's seen him coming in, then he winded up with that uppercut. So he realizes that anytime Mitchell comes in, he's coming in low.
All right, Harold, how do you have it through 3?
Okay, Fred, 3-0, 30-26, Paul Williams.
Mitchell's hurt. Sharmba Mitchell holding on. Paul Williams rocked him there to start the round. Sorry, Harold.
Let's hear the academic score, Harold.
Well, wait a minute. We may have another knockdown here.
Yeah, his knee definitely touched the canvas.
Come on, let's go.
Referee didn't catch it.
Harold, it doesn't feel like this is going to need to go to the cards, does it?
Well, at this point, no. At this point, Paul Williams should have a 4-point advantage on the 3 judges' scorecards. He does get an extra point in round 3 for knocking Sharmba off his feet.
Oh, that's it.
Paul Williams wins a 3-punch combination, and Mitchell goes down for the 2nd time in the fight.
6, 7, 8.
And there are just under 2 minutes left in the round.
Break.
No knockdown there, but clearly Sharmba Mitchell.
His legs are gone.
That's right. Just the volume of punches alone.
Get up here.
We saw this with Stevie Johnston against Vivian Harris a couple weeks ago.
Let's go.
An older southpaw who's clearly past his prime, but still fighting with heart. Sharmba is not running, he's standing and fighting.
Williams doing a nice job of being patient, but definitely trying to take him out of there. And you can see Mitchell has very little left.
Williams has definitely found his range.
Big right hand
That right hook
landed flush to the jaw. Takes Mitchell down, and Mitchell takes Williams down in the process.
5, 6, 7, 8. Sam.
Mitchell complaining as if to say that's not a knockdown, but I don't know, a punch hits you flush in the jaw, and you go down. He went down by the force of the punch.
I mean, that was the best punch landed in the fight so far, that right hook from Paul Williams, and I thought, I was surprised Mitchell even got up from it.
Paul Williams is an energetic, young, 25-year-old fighter who says, I'll take on anybody from 147 up to 168. I'm not so sure about that, but I tell you what, he's excited to watch, no doubt. Paul Williams knocks down Sharmba Mitchell for the 4th time in the fight, and this might be it.
It is it.
It took Mayweather 6 rounds. It took Paul Williams 4.
Vic Draculich stops the fight at the end of the 4th round after Sharmba Mitchell was down for the 4th time in the fight from the long, lengthy, rangy Paul Williams.
Let me tell you, Max, he took a while to get warmed up, but once he got warmed up, you couldn't stop him.
There were certain things, though, getting hit by wild looping right hands by a little older guy that will send Paul Williams' camp a little bit back to the drawing board in terms of defense. But Sharmba Mitchell was here to make Paul Williams look spectacular, and he did. Paul Williams absolutely looked spectacular.
Let's take a look at some of the spectacular knockdowns here, Lennox.
This is a situation where, you know, he adjusted, he realizes that Sharmba had to come in low, and he just started throwing uppercuts. He worked the uppercuts into his arsenal, and it worked for him.
Getting him flush right there with the right uppercut.
We should also say here,
here's the second knockdown, Max.
This is with real power he's now throwing these punches. Williams is known as a knockout guy, but really it's from an accumulation of shots usually, generally not hitting quite with as much crispness as he did in this fight. His camp expects that as he gets older, he'll hit with more power. Maybe we're starting to see that maturation here tonight.
And that's the final knockdown of the fight.
All right, baby. Yeah, God love you, man. Anytime, man. Good job. Take the torch and run with it. Yes, sir. All right?
All right, Jimmy Lennon Jr. now is ready with the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time of 2 minutes, 57 seconds in round number 4. Our referee in charge, Vic Draculich, reaches the count of 10. He is the winner by way of knockout, still undefeated, and still a champion, Paul the Punisher Williams.
There we go. Here we go, baby. It's my business.
Paul Williams with an impressive display tonight against Sharmba Mitchell. 3 knockdowns. Check that. I said 4 during the fight, but it was actually 3. Nevertheless, scoring a 4th round knockout over Mitchell to pick up his 31st victory versus no losses. Let's take a look at some of the final punch stat numbers here. And total punches, we mentioned Williams likes to throw a lot of punches. He started out with 95 and then 99 in the 2nd round. His total punches came down a little bit, but his power punches increased here, as we'll take a look at the power punches for the fight. In 1 round, in the 2nd round, 15 of his 17 connects were power punches. He threw 102 more power punches, and he landed 24 more. All right, let's send it up now to Max Kellerman, who's standing by with the Punisher.
Paul the Punisher Williams, congratulations, great performance.
Man, you know what I'm saying? I'm at the top of the list, man. Everybody came out here to see what I could do, man. It wasn't no fluke with Walter Matisse, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing changed, you know what I'm saying? I'm still gonna come out here, I'm still gonna get on a good show. That's what I come to do. I think the fans deserve to see a fighter. They're gonna bring it all, you know, so they pay their money to see. And I'll try to get them what their money's worth.
You always put on a good show. However, let's look at the one potential negative out of this. He's a little guy, he's an older guy. He was able to hit you with some wild right hooks. Did you feel his power at any time, or you hurt at any time?
No, sir, it wasn't hurt, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know what I'm saying? He hit me with some nice shots, but I look at it like this. Man, you got to take something to give something. And so, you know what I'm saying? I'm in the business of you're going to get hit, you know what I'm saying? So I prepare myself, you know what I'm saying, take them good shots. I've been in a big champions like Glenn Johnson and stuff, and he hit me with some nice stuff, you know what I'm saying? And I was able to hold to that, so I know he don't hit hard as Glenn Johnson. So, I mean, I just want to get a fight with them big name fighters with the big belts, you know what I'm saying? Antonio Margarita been calling him out for a minute. If the winner out of Baltimore and Florida, I take them. Anybody who in that 47 them big belts, I want to shot them with them big paydays.
Realistically, no one's going to fight you unless they have to. Maybe this is the one time I can actually say something, where sanctioning body's being constructive. If you're the mandatory for Margarito, that's who you're really honing in on, right?
Yes, sir. That's what I really want, you know what I'm saying? Because they give him a lot of credit, and I understand why they give him a lot of credit, saying nobody that won't fight this guy. He most feared welterweight it is. And what he been doing in the past, yeah, you can say that, but it's new blood in the sport. And I'm saying, hey, nobody else don't want to call him out. Hey, I call him out. I want to fight him, so I can prove myself to everybody. And the fans don't say, they say he the best. I want to be considered as the best. So you got to fight the best to be the best.
Real quick, was the number 6 in your mind, as in 6 rounds it took Floyd to beat Sharmba?
No, sir. I mean, I look at it like this. We were scheduled for 12 rounds, so I was prepared to go the whole 12. It just so happened that in the earlier. So, but, you know, I give my hat out to Sharmba. He's 2-time world champion. You know, it's a blessing for me to be in the ring with a man that's 2-time world champion.
A little bit big, huh, Sharmba?
Yeah, just a little bit. But I take my hat off to him. You know, he fought. I'm coming to fight. You know me. I don't dug anyone, and I fight everybody. I became 2-time world champion. And I'm still gonna become a world champion. You know, he caught me with some good shots. I thought he shouldn't have stopped, but you know, with that, we ain't here for safety.
Congratulations, Paul Williams. Thanks, Sharmba. Fran Lennox.
All right, Max. Well, Paul Williams moves to 31-0, Lennox. But let's talk about some of the shots he did get hit with there in the 2nd round against maybe